Hey guys, Thomas this is Junior here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie Beast. If you end up enjoying this movie review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition to help smaller YouTubers get recognized. The second and third will head you over to my Patreon/PayPal where you can help support me and my channel directly. And the fourth to my Discord server where you can meet other YouTubers and help chat it out and collab and do a whole lot of other neat stuff. With all that said, Shilling will be reminded at the end of the review, and with all that said, let's get into the movie of Beast. So I've seen this trailer, I don't know, 2 or 3 times before seeing the movie. And when I saw the trailer, I thought, okay, this seems like it's going to be a pretty simplistic movie. And for what it's worth, yeah, it really, really is. Beast is pretty much about a wild lion that essentially hunts these 3 individuals, as well as anyone else who is in the vicinity. And that's about it. But we're going to go a little bit deeper than that, but point being is we'll talk about that more when we get there. So, we begin somewhere deep in the forest savanna in Africa, where these poachers are hunting down and attempting to kill animals. One of them goes missing, and one of the others goes looking for him, and that guy gets taken down as well. We cut to our lead, who I'll just call Dad, since I don't know if they ever say his name, his, given name in the movie, where he has his 2 daughters, Nora and Mare. I believe the Mare is the one on the right on the poster there, if I remember correctly. And so Nora would be the one on the left. So he's bringing his 2 daughters to Africa to essentially go through one of those safari-like events. One of them's fascinated with taking pictures, and the other one seems to just be in more support, I guess. And they seem to have a good friend that they make contact with, Martin, who the girls call Uncle Martin. And so we learn pretty early on that they have lost their mother in the process of, these events. So, this is to entice us to care about our characters, so they give us a little bit of backstory. So, we have some of Nora taking some pictures, and Mare looking around as they make their way into their new temporary setup location. They mentioned how their parents got split up, and she had gotten cancer, and how he was a doctor and felt guilty that he couldn't do anything even as a doctor to save her. So, after that frustration, the next day, they head out and they meet with a safari expert named Banji, who shows them to these other pack of lions that have nothing to do with the lion that we'll be primarily focusing on a little bit later on. So, these lions seem to be pretty friendly with Banji, or Martin, I should say, who moves up and shows that he has been taking care of them for quite some time as they treat him with kindness. And in the process, I believe it's Nora who talks about these anti-poachers, like poachers who hunt other poachers, and they almost hint that Martin is one of these anti-poachers. So, sorry for the cut. Back to what I was saying about how Martin was potentially being seen as an anti-poacher, and they sort of allude to that being the case. So, they head into this village and they find that it is actually empty. So the Dad and Martin head over to see a lot of dead people. Nora, through her curious mind, went out, wandered off on her own, found some more bodies, and through their path of escaping through this village, they find a lone villager who's still severely injured. So Martin goes hunting ahead and tells the dead to fall behind. He shuts off a fire as he sees the monster lion, as I'll refer to it as the monster lion attacks their vehicle. In the process, they crash the vehicle as they're trying to escape, and their radio is on, but they are going down further the path that they were, initially on. And Martin's still outside of the vehicle, so the lion goes back to Martin, or after Martin, I should say. And when the car crashes, they take a bit, and the dad gets out of the car with the trank gun, trying to look out for a potential attack of the monster lion. So Mare begins to head out to try to get to Martin, but the lion comes back for the car, and he's then trapped underneath the car. So I believe it's Noir who ends up poking it with a trank dart in the butt at some point. So this allows Mare to get back to Martin, though. However, it would appear that the lion, the monster lion, is already back on the prowl, as if the trank dart didn't do much. They argue about how much how the dad was not able to keep the promises, as the lion has seemed to at least given them some space, but not for awfully long. So the dad has a nightmare about losing more, essentially, and the radio goes off. And during the night, a new group of poachers, I guess based off of the ones from earlier, but there's just more of them, head over, and they meet up with the dad, and when they see Martin, who they get back to the vehicle, they attack the dad. So this is the end of the implication that he's explicitly an anti-poacher, so they know that he is, so they focus on attacking. However, when the lion attacks back, they focus fire on the lion. And when he has an opportunity to, the dad tries to get to the other car, which he does, but he does not know how to hotwire it, as he's a doctor, not a person who can hotwire a car. So he goes after the poachers to get the keys, and he drops the radio when it goes off when the daughters try to check on him, and the two girls honk the horn trying to distract the lion. The dad finds the keys, and the lion charges the car. They get out. Martin is stuck in the car with the lion, and as it is pulled down into this pit. Martin uses some sort of explosive that he somehow has on him. I'm not really sure how that came to be, but okay. But that doesn't end it, obviously. So, the trio, Dad and the two daughters, begin to backtrack to where they came from. They manage to pass by the lions they saw earlier, so they know that they're on the right track. So as they make their way back to the house, and one of the two daughters gets injured in the process of one of the many lion attacks, I'm assuming it's the more recent one. So Mare is the one, I believe, dealing with the injury herself. So the dad treats her, focusing on primarily trying to treat her as a doctor. Apologies if you hear any noise in the background. Anyway, the lion moves in to the buildings, so it's sort of still following them, still hunting them. The dad leads the lion away while making sure his daughters are safe. He proceeds to backtrack to the group of lions without pretty much anything, so he gets pretty beat down by this monster lion before the other lions begin to defend their territory and in the process him. We gets told when he wakes up in the hospital that Banji is the one who got to them, or him specifically, and thus the two girls look after him and they finish up their trip in the Africa, zone. And that was the movie Beast. Again, fairly simplistic, and, I find this movie quite fascinating in that regard, that it is indeed so basic, in terms of there isn't any, supernatural abilities, I don't think, that they give this lion. Now, the thing about the trank is, at least what I'm aware of from this, is that there is chances that a trank won't always 100% work. So, I am willing to slide my belief that that is the case of what happened with the lion in this instance, where it just didn't work. So yeah. Otherwise, there are some pretty tense moments here, but it's kept, again, fairly basic. So I think in terms of that, I do think that there are obviously still conveniences you can pull from the movie, such as the poachers arriving just in time, which gives them the opportunity to leave in the process. But, I think, that's a minor one since they were on the radio anyways. So the chances of that getting picked up by people who are moving in that location does seem a little bit likelier than not. So at least the movie tries to set up some of its material, at least to some degree. And I do also enjoy that they give us at least some backstory to the characters. This is something, again, I usually complain about in a majority of horror movies, is that we don't usually get something like that. Something to connect us to the character. Something that's like, oh, I care about this character. I want them to live. I want them to survive. They are dealing with this ordeal of losing their mother. That's something you can connect to, perhaps. So you're like, he's trying his best. When his daughter's injured, he looks after her. He doesn't know everything. He doesn't know how to hotwire a car. He's not Mr. Perfect Man who knows how to do everything that is presented in front of him. And I actually do enjoy that little detail that, yeah, he doesn't know how to hotwire a car. I actually think that's a pretty clever, breakdown of, subversion, I suppose. Because the guy usually knows how to hotwire a car. Sometimes the woman does too. I'm not gonna subject that to sex necessarily. Point being is that in a lot of movies where hot wiring is required, it usually tends to happen, is what I'm trying to get at the end of the day. And here, it doesn't. So, a little bit of subversion that I actually think is pretty well handled. And it does build up that tension that they are forced to split up, rather than splitting up simply because, they need to get the keys because they need a vehicle that can work. They need to get out of this area that's essentially, aside from everything else. So yeah, there isn't much more else to say about this movie, really. If I were to give it a score, since we're already done with the recap since it's such a straightforward narrative. I would probably actually give this a probable 7 out of 10. I think it's a pretty enjoyable yet simple movie. And again, that is an objective, or as objective a score, just to be clear. So, a pretty sufficient horror movie, a basic one, but one that is, again, pretty straightforward and still filled with some tension and still filled with, you know, God forbid, actual characters. Because I know we need more of that these days. So, glad to see it. Glad to see that they actually cared enough to give us a little bit of time, get us a little bit of setup, just enough, to be like, okay, it's not totally misunderstandable why they're in this scenario. So yeah, that is my full review of Beast, and if you ended up enjoying it, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition to help smaller YouTubers. Second and third will head you over to my Patreon/PayPal, where you can help support me and my channel directly, and that will be greatly appreciated. Or you can also join my Discord server, where you can find other YouTubers and chat it up. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.